Jake and Fulton coming to you on a Thursday edition. Thank you so much for stopping by as the Batcats maybe just saved their postseason lives there. How about that? The K-State baseball team taking down Texas. Ah, the Longhorns. 2 in barbecue, baby, for the top team.
They scored 2 runs in 18 innings. 3 runs in 18 innings of work against KU and K-State down in Texas. You absolutely just love to see it.
How about that?
You love to see it.
How about that?
Hey, man, depending on how things go today, tomorrow we might get a little bit of a sunflower showdown down there in Texas.
I think we will.
I would hope we don't, but, we'll see.
TCU is playing pretty well. So
yeah, they are.
The whole, scoring 16 runs, that type of deal. And K-State's pitchers, they're not going to be able to pitch who they pitched today. So we got a lot to get to on this edition of Mic'd Up. Jacob on Fulton Caster with you. As always, let us know how your thoughts are. Hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429. Let us know on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone line. We're going to talk some Royals baseball. We'll get into some Chiefs contract discussions, a little deep dive on Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. Patrick Mahomes and Rashee Rice. We're going to talk about the rookie. Who will have had a better rookie year? Sky Moore, who we know, or Rashee Rice? Be interested to know. Kind of similar situations happening right now for both of them. We will get to that coming up today. Coming up here in about 15 minutes, we're going to talk with Paul Meyerberg on all things conference realignment, how he, someone from the right coast, thinks of everything going on up there. I guess we'll call it the north right coast, upper right coast, up there in New York.
We can just say northeast.
Yeah. Or we could say the upper right.
I mean, yeah.
Upper right? Looking at a map?
I know
right?
what you're playing off of here, but it doesn't play the same.
Yeah, you got the left coast, you got the right coast.
That does not play the same.
Very simple. There's no difference to me.
Okay.
So,
okay.
We will get to all of that today here on this edition of Mic'd Up. Last night was the reason why the Royals are not in the front of the mind of fans. Like last night's game was not, we call it pulling a Royal.
Yeah. Where
pulling a Royal is you're down by like 5 and then you come back and you make it a game.
Mm-hmm.
The game yesterday was kind of just the Royals this year. Hey, they were okay, had some good things, but eventually in the end,
nothing ever clicked and
they're going to end up losing. Yeah. Like this is why when a rough start occurs, and the Royals had a rough start, then you have games like this where, they lost 6-4. Yeah, Greinke pitched pretty decent, never really came through in a clutch situation at the plate. The bullpen gave up some runs late for the main reason why it didn't work out. And the Royals end up losing. Like the game yesterday is what the front office is trying to absolutely avoid, but also 2, baseball is trying to avoid. I was watching the game yesterday with my wife, and we're near, like the 7th, 8th inning, and the Royals are down. I think it was the top of the 8th inning when the Tigers just scored, and she goes, "It's just kind of a blah game." And I was like, "No, that's I couldn't say it better myself, sweetie. That's 1,000%." And that's a bummer.
Yeah.
If the Royals were, let's say the Tigers, right? Let's say the Royals were 22-25. That game would have been a fun one to watch. Cranky Dealin. Oh man, the bullpen gave up 2 runs. Dang it. Now it's, 4-2. Not 4-2. No, 6-2. Oh gosh, dang. Then you'd still stay in tuned after they scored a run in the 8th. You're like, oh, maybe they can scrap something together, in the 9th, or that would be kind of exciting. But when you're down and your record is 15-36, and you've seen this movie time and time again, and this is one of those rerun shows that you don't care about. It's not like one of your favorite shows that, if there's nothing else going on, you pop on, Netflix, you pop on Max, which, by the way, who the hell decided to change HBO Max to Max? That marketing firm needs to be fired.
Oh, no, buddy, there's a worst part to that. The worst part to that was who the hell decided that it needed to be a new app?
Well, that's on the technical side of things.
Oh, and that is still a question that needs to be asked.
I'm just talking about the marketing.
I know.
Why would you get away from HBO? Anyways.
Either way, the whole entire rollout they've done with that thing is stupid.
Yeah, very, very
point standing, and I get your point. It's emblematic of the Royals' continuous issue, and not just this season, continuously, that when one thing that traditionally has been bad goes well, the thing that's been good goes bad.
Yeah.
Like, traditionally, starting pitching's been the issue. Well, Zach Greinke twirled 5 innings of 1-run ball.
Yeah, excellent.
He looked great. So you think, with how well the bullpen is pitched, you're like, all right, we're good. Well, this game, maybe they'll give up a run or two, but it'll stay close. Low, close. Royals can pull this out. Well, then the bullpen gives up 5 runs. And you're like, it's a bummer because the bullpen, this was an outlier game for them. I've seen enough at this point to say it is not common that they're going to have performance like last night, where you see 5 earned runs against 2 relievers. You're not going to consistently see that. Josh Taylor's not going to, more often than not, going to serve up a 3-run home run to a guy who literally had 1 home run all year.
That's what makes it worse, too.
And had 1 RBI all year. And that's true. But it happens. And that's the way the game goes sometimes. And it sucks. And there's no other way to view it. And it kind of sums up what it's like being a bad team, because you can never get everything to go right at once.
And all their good
bullpen
arms weren't available today because
somebody named Brady Singer screwed everything up this week.
Not only that, but yesterday too. I mean, Chapman and Barlow, they weren't going to go today, or they weren't going to go yesterday. They couldn't. Aroldis Chapman going 3 days in a row. No, that's definitely. I mean, you shouldn't do that anyway.
No, and that's what screwed you over. And it started with Brady Singer's implosion. And then Mike Myers did everything he could, but he's not stretched out for a long performance yet.
Yeah. So that was a bummer yesterday. Yeah. But that is a microcosm of baseball right now. Out of sight, out of mind. A whole nother topic there that we've already, talked about. But that was kind of the game yesterday. Just a very blah, don't really care type of game. Unless you took Zach Greinke and the over on strikeouts and Matt Boyd on the over on strikeouts, then you were happy.
Did Matt Boyd hit his?
He had 6.
Oh, good job.
Yeah,
I literally didn't really pay attention to that. And games like that are a little weird and disappointing when they occur, but hopefully Washington is better. That's all I will say is hopefully Washington is better.
Oh, that's all we got is hope. Coming up next, we are here, a little market update, and then we're going to talk with Paul Meyerberg on all things college realignment. We are less than 100 days from the college football season beginning, but the college football world is getting updates, it seems like, every single day when it comes to realignment. To talk all things college football, a little summer and spring predictions, and a little college realignment, we bring in our college football expert on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone lines. He is Paul Meyerberg from USA Today. Joining us, Paul, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. Better when I realized that we're like 98 days out. I forgot that we had crossed the 100 days benchmark. To me, when you get to double digits, it's pretty much around the corner. Like, we're going to go to the beach for a weekend and then come back, and all of a sudden it's kickoff. So we're getting there, guys. It's good to talk to you.
It is exciting. Media days coming up in July that are always fun to attend and go to. So looking forward to that. But beforehand, I always like to get a pulse a little bit from other places. And you being from the Northeast, Paul, you are not a diehard Big 12er like we are. Sometimes it's hard to see the forest through the trees. We look at it through Big 12 colored glasses. But right now, in the college landscape, with USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten, all of that happening, what is your kind of pulse right now on what's happening right now in the college world when it comes to realignment, and what's kind of the next step in your mind going forward?
Yeah, I think we're doing our normal dance right now. I don't think there's a whole lot of substance to expansion in the year 2023, other than obviously the teams that we've already had going into the Big 12, the American and elsewhere. You know, I understand that you look as the Big 12 to a lesser degree, but certainly the Big 10 and the SEC. You look at the ACC, their current agreement about revenue sharing based off on-field success is not sustainable. It's not a good one. So I think that gives you some hope if you're those leagues that a Clemson, a Florida State, a Miami is gettable. I think the Big 12, if you look at them specifically, I understand you're losing star power, but I think they're in good shape. And not just in good shape, they're very, very solid shape. So I think the Big 12 is going to add the teams that will put them in the same breath as the SEC. No, I mean, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But you're closer to the SEC as the Big 12 than you are to the Pac-12. So this is a good time for the league, and we'll talk a lot about this league in the coming months and obviously during the season. 2023 Big 12 is so interesting, and it's going to be so exciting because it's going to be so unpredictable. So this is going to be a super fun year. It's a one-year thing only, but I think this is going to be a very, very fun and exciting year of Big 12 football.
Do you think, because the Pac-12 does not have a TV contract signed, or at least in the works, that is an issue right now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a huge issue. And they're going to get a TV deal signed, guys. I mean, we all know that. They're not going to be like the live golf thing or whatever you call it. They're on the CW. They're going to get a legitimate TV deal.
Yes.
You know, it's going to be
how
fine.
Much?
But it's all about, right, it's about how much, and, you know, what does that look like in 2027, whatever your deal that you sign is. You know, for me, the Big 12, for what they've brought in and what they've lost, the Pac-12, what they're going to lose and not replace, these are just two different animals. So the Big 12 is is watching very, very, very closely, and I do think that a Pac-12 as a conference, whatever TV deal they get, it's not going to quiet the fire. I think this fire is going to burn and burn and burn, and before you know it, I think the Pac-12 could cease to exist. So we'll know more, I think, in the next 6 to 8 months, but it's not a great place. The Big 12 and the Pac-12, do not group them together. Big 12 is in really nice shape. Pac-12 is not.
So if you are, and this is the biggest question, and I agree with you everything on where the Pac-12 is and where the Big 12 stands. If you are Oregon and Washington, they would do backflips to join the Big Ten. If you are Arizona State, if you are Colorado, if you are Utah, I think their presidents and ADs and Board of Regents are in a unique spot. Do you try to stay together and salvage it? Or do you just say, screw this, we have to figure out how to keep ourselves viable?
This is a really...
I'm on the thing is you got to look out for yourself. This is survival. This isn't about trying to keep stuff together. When USC and UCLA go to the Big Ten, we are throwing everything out the window. I mean, when Missouri goes to the SEC, regions are out the window. So if that's the case, I don't know if they're too close to the forest to see the trees and like, oh, we're with the Pac-12 and yeah, solidarity, brother. I think that this is business. This isn't personal. And I'm half tempted to say, look, if the Big 12 offered a job or offered a position, if I'm one of those schools to couple with BYU, I honestly don't know how you don't jump towards that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of layers to it, and it's really interesting. Let's look at these individual teams, like you said. You're individually driven as colleges now. Oregon and Washington, the argument for staying in the Pac-12 is it gives you increased or better access to a national championship. The Arizona schools, Colorado, and not Utah, but maybe Utah to a bit of a degree, are not in that boat. And I think that makes Arizona State, Colorado, Utah very attractive Big 12 members because, like you said, there's attractiveness and an appeal to being in a safe position. What has changed from my perspective and how we look at realignment is this. 10 years ago, or maybe early 2010s, when we talked about realignment, we talked about markets. We talked about markets as Rutgers is a New York market, Maryland getting that DC market. That's not how it works anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's about games. It's about packaging games. So for the Big 12, or rather for the Big 10, there's no appeal in those border schools at all because you can't package games. Like you're not going to sell the territorial cup to Fox and say, here's your big game, give us $30 million a year. It doesn't work like that. It does work to the Big 12's advantage, therefore, to expand in your footprint. And like you said, it just makes so much sense for them to go out into Arizona, bring Colorado back, and unite Utah and BYU. That you want to say it's obviously going to happen. Nothing is obvious, but it seems to make such perfect sense. And if they do that, and the Pac-12, I mean, it disintegrates on its own volition because there's no teams left. But I think the Pac-12 and the Big 12, that's a good partnership for those four schools. So I'd like to see that happen. I don't know if it is in the next 3 or 4 years, but if the Pac-12 falls apart, you have to assume those four will join the Big 12.
Well, let's go to the ACC. And you just mentioned what the ACC is doing is exactly what the Big 12 did, 10, 12 years ago. Oh, hey, Oklahoma, Texas, we'll keep you happy. You can have your third tier rights all on your own. So you get the Longhorn Network. You get the Soonersports.com. You'll make more money than the rest of us. See, we're all happy now. Eventually, the money's going to grow too much that they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to leave. And they stabbed everybody behind the back and didn't care about doing so. What the ACC is doing is the same exact thing. Hey, Florida State, North Carolina, yeah, if you do really good, we'll give you more money. And then when they can leave, they will leave. I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe you can help me out here. The ACC,
it's closer.
Well, go ahead.
In terms of the model, it's closer to what the Mountain West did to keep Boise State. and they gave Boise a higher chunk of the annual payout than they gave Colorado State or they gave the other schools. That was a disaster for the Mountain West. It made Boise more important than everyone else. It made them the hunted. It was just bad for the league. I think this is also bad for the ACC. But guys, like, they got this grant of rights thing that goes into the 2030s. I mean, the U.S. may not exist as a country by the time the ACC is still standing. You know what I mean? Like it's way too far out there. It was a miserable, awful job. You got to do what you can. You got to work with what you got. This is a last ditch, you know, try to grab a log in the water as your ship sinks kind of moment for the ACC. I don't think it's going to prevent anything major in terms of if another school wants them and is willing to pay, or another conference wants them and they're willing to pay. It's not going to stop anything like that from happening. It's just another layer of red tape. It makes it more annoying, but it's not a long-term fix. I don't put a lot of stock in it, and I don't really think that highly of it, to be quite honest.
I have not officially heard this, but you know, I've seen it, you know, from people out there, that the grant of rights for the ACC is very, very strong. Now, you got lawyers from Florida State and Clemson are like, oh, maybe we can work something around. There's all this stuff talk about the Magnificent Seven or the Seven of the ACC who want to leave. There's some rumors out there. You know, it's the Florida State, the Clemson, North Carolina, Miami, Virginia, and Virginia Tech, right? That's 7. And then the other 7 are, we want to keep it together, which is understandable. The Boston Colleges, the Syracuses, the Wake Forests of the world. Understandable, because they're going to be like the Washington States and the Oregon States. Is there any truth to the rumor of, if more than 50% of the conference says, yes, let's, end this grant of rights, or let's get out of this TV deal, they can do that? Is that something that's actually plausible, or people are just throwing out stuff and that's not really accurate at all?
Yeah, I guess it's possible. It just doesn't seem probable. You're looking at an exit fee of about, I've seen $120 million. It's probably less than that on paper, and it's probably less than that when you get to sit at the table, because you'll say, hey, I'll give you 85. I mean, I'm just saying a number. Yeah. And the ACC might say, okay, let's go. And look, that number, that's 120. If you believe that in 2023, maybe by 2026, that's 90 million, and it gets more manageable. I do not believe, just because I know that legal teams remain unbeaten in college sports, I don't think that they can get out of this grant of rights deal without a huge chunk of change. Just saying, hey, there's 8 of us who want out, and that's more than 7, and now we got to cut this thing at the knees. I don't see it. I just don't know why the ACC or anyone would agree to that. I do think that only thing making it stop from happening is a check, you know, and we're at the point now where there's so much big money and so much bigger and bigger money at risk or potentially to be cashed in the next 5 or 8 years by TV, that it's not just ridiculous like Clemson and Florida State will pay it. It's really not, with the help of the Big Ten or the SEC. But it's just not reasonable, and it's not realistic right now that just because some schools are kicking a can that we're going to throw away, you know, tradition of the ACC and $100 million. So I don't put a lot of stock in that. It's May, guys, and I think a lot of this chatter is just May chatter.
We're talking with Paul Meyerberg from USA Today, covers the college football world. If you were given I hate conference realignment. I think it's awful. It bothers me to no end that Missouri and Kansas are not in the same conference. It bugs me that Oklahoma and Oklahoma State won't play each other in the future. Like it just bothers me to no end. I understand it, but I hate it. If you were Brett Yormark and everything is available for the Big 12, what would you do? Would you go get the 4-quarter school? Would you go after someone in the ACC? If you could get the Big 12 as strong as you possibly could, maybe you go get UConn. You know, their name has been floated out there. I think that's a bad move by UConn, to be honest with you. But also the Big 12. If you were in charge, would you do 14 teams? Would you do 16 teams? How would you pull it if you could pull from the Pac-12 and the ACC? And I want realistic ones. You know, some people in the Big 12 are like, yeah, let's go after Florida State, North Carolina. I'm like, they're not going to want to come to the Big 12. they're either going to go to the Big 10 or the SEC. North Carolina ain't coming to the Big 12. I would love that. I would love to bring in North Carolina, Florida State, Miami. Bring them on into the Big 12. That would be terrific. I would do backflips if that were the case. I don't think that's realistic. So, in your mind, what do you think as close to realistic as you could get if you were in charge of the Big 12? What would you do?
Yeah, this is awesome. Okay, so we're at 12 right now, taking out the two rich schools. Okay, so I'm going to add those four that we talked about. Okay, Arizona 13, Arizona State 14, Colorado 15, Utah 16. I think that's awesome, but let's not stop there. I think the Big 12 wants. If I were the Big 12, I'd want to add another Texas school. That'd be Texas San Antonio. I think UTSA is a program in a location and a alumni base and a support system that could easily justify a move to the Big 12. So that gives us 17. You're not going to be able to bring back Missouri, so we're kind of stuck at 17. How about this? We'll go in the Mountain West. We'll add Boise to get 18, Colorado State 19, and go San Diego State for 20. I would go 20. Did I just hit 20?
Yeah.
Or am I at 19? Okay. That's what I would do. Look, you're not going to get Missouri back. You're not going to get Clemson. You're not really going to get Florida State or Miami. Let's just get real. But, expand your footprint. Bring in good football playing schools that have a brand and have sustained, consistent success. And position yourself as the premier program west of the Rockies and in that region of the United States. And that's you. That's who you are. You're not the SEC. You're not going to win a national championship every single year, but that's a legitimately very, very, very strong league. Even if you just add the four from the Pac-12, that's the league. That's one of the four leagues, and it's the league west of the Rockies. I think that's a big deal. And I think that's the direction the Big 12 should go.
A lot of folks around here look at, bringing in Pitt, Louisville, and someone like a Virginia Tech or something of that nature, and go east and be, the big United States, if you will, because Pitt and West Virginia, Louisville right there next to Cincinnati, that gives you, plus you bring in the four corner schools. That is what a lot of people around here are talking about. Why not try? And that's if the ACC decides to, combust, that, maybe Louisville, maybe Pitt, they're not going to be wanted by the Big 10 or the SEC. Would that be a way to go if you are the Big 12?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's probably more appealing to your Mark because he's the Northeast guy. He's New York, born and bred, New Jersey. So I think that would definitely appeal to him. I think you're right that if you can get them out of the ACC, it does present this geographical idea of having West Virginia and Pitt play and, having those schools kind of in the Northeast. I think that's cool. I think that's great. Virginia Tech just doesn't do anything necessarily. Louisville doesn't really do anything. I understand getting closer to the East is probably better for the Big 12. I just feel like it's a stronger league when you're out in the West. And, that's not great for TV, so you got to take that into account. But I think it's a stronger league and maybe a league that can blossom and become something a little bit different if you give those other programs that are out West a bit of a lifeline. And that's the chance and a roll of the dice that I'd be willing to take with your Mark in the Big 12.
All righty. We will get to some actual college football here. It's May the 25th. Spring ball is done. It's concluded. Transfer portals are pretty much done for when it comes to this. How do you look at the Big 12? It's wide open. TCU, of course, lost a whole lot of talent, including their quarterback, Quentin Johnson, a couple of linemen, defensive guys. K-State loses four of their best players. Texas still stinks, but they got so much talent that everybody's like, how do they not win the league? How do you kind of look at this right now in regards of the Big 12?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think TCU, to just quickly hit on these teams, TCU is not going to play for national championship. They're not going to even win as many games as they did, but they could be a better team because I think they're going to be deeper. They're just going to miss a lot of star power. Chandler Morris is going to have an awesome year, super productive. They're not going to win the conference. I think they're probably an 8-win team. If I was going to say the four teams right now that I am looking at that are going to win this league, Texas is one. Texas is one. I hate that I'm going to say that, but for the reason you mentioned, the roster is insane. I think Oklahoma is going to bounce back in a huge way. I think Baylor is a team a lot of people are sleeping on. And then, of course, Kansas State. So those are my four teams that I'd put at the very top. TCU, Oklahoma State, I don't like. But look, let's talk quickly about these 4 newcomers. I think all 4 of these new teams can be successful to a degree. I think Houston, just from a talent perspective and from a schematic perspective, I think they're probably the weakest of the 4. I think BYU's physicality and Cincinnati's physicality is going to have some success early. I think UCF is going to surprise people with how fast they can run. This is a really, really awesome league. And it's tremendous, tremendous fun, I think, to pick out who's going to go 8-4, who's going to go 10-2, who can go 4-8. A lot of question marks out there and a lot of very, very good teams. So right now it's impossible to guess. I'd give it to Kansas State because, you got to beat them. But at this point, I think there are 4 or 5 teams you can make a really good argument for winning this conference.
Hey, that helps draw eyeballs. That is for sure. When you don't know who's going to win, people want to find out. Last two for the road. Very simple, very easy for you, Paul. KU, will they have more or less wins than last year?
I think they'll match them. Like I said, this is a league that is more unpredictable. It's just more difficult, period, because you have 10, 11 teams that can get to 6 wins. I think they end at 6. I don't think that's a step back. I think it's still a solid season. It's early. The game to me on this schedule is Illinois week 2. It's at home. It's against a good, burgeoning team coming out of the Big Ten West. If they can win that game, they'll be 3-0 going into BYU. And then you begin to think about maybe a 7 or even 8-win season. But they got to win Illinois, I think, to ensure they get back to a bowl game. If they go 5-7, I think a lot of people will look and say, hey, the bloom is off the rose. I would not go in that direction, but September 9th, we'll talk about that game a lot. I think it's a big one.
Alrighty, and lastly, right now, if you had to pick your Heisman favorite here on May 25th, who do you got?
Look, I got to say Caleb Williams because I do think that there's an undiscovered aspect to him that was not. He didn't have a spotlight on him solely all year. I think he blew up in November. I think he's still got some room to grow as a national person. So I'm going to say Caleb Williams, as much as I know that he probably won't win it. I think he's one of the most exciting quarterbacks that I've seen in a really, really long time. I mean, he's like Patrick Mahomes, but on a team that could win a national championship. So that's a cop-out because he's not going to do it 2-time, but that's my guy at this point.
He's got a chance, though, man. I will say that. Lincoln Riley, all he does is produce Heisman Trophy winners. Well, Paul, thank you.
I'll get it. Let's do a underdog. This is a guy that I'm going to beat the drum for. It's Brock Bowers, the tight end at Georgia.
Okay.
I mean, this kid is the number 1 player, regardless of position in the country. Will he get the catches to win it? I don't know, but we haven't had a tight end win the Heisman probably since the 40s. I think he's got a shot to at least be a finalist.
I like it. Yeah, that guy's a freak. Paul, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Have a great rest of your summer, and we'll talk to you near media days.
Yep, sounds good, guys. Talk to you soon.
Paul Meyerberg. Interesting. Going out west. I like that. That's why different views. Somebody that thinks differently. Coming up next, we'll get into a little baseball topic, and then we will talk contracts. Mic'd up on this Thursday, a gorgeous Thursday afternoon, leading into the Memorial Day weekend coming up tomorrow. Jake and Fulton Caster with you. No Royals baseball today. They're 1-5 in their last 6 on a stretch that we thought that they could actually do something against.
That's what's the most disappointing, man. Like, that's what's so disappointing to me right now. This is a stretch you could have picked up some wins. You showed you can beat the White Sox. Well, the Tigers aren't good.
They just beat the Padres 2 of 3.
Yeah,
on the road.
Vibes were good.
You've got an off day, and then you go to Chicago, a team that you just took 3 of 4 from. And then you just got smacked by him. Those games weren't close.
No.
And then you take on Detroit and you lose 1 game to Detroit. That's fine. Detroit is where the Royals should be. 22-25. Not really a contender. But
you can see enough of the pieces they can see where it's starting to turn.
Well, they're competitive enough to be. If you're 22-25,
competitive,
which the Tigers are right now. Especially in this
division, they're second in the division.
Only 2.5 games back.
Yeah,
that's a sweep of the Twins, and you're leading the Twins.
And that's what's so
the Tigers are ahead of us in the rebuild, Fulton.
That's what's so.
I want to throw something at you.
Here, as I've said numerous times, as I've tried to point out, like the Tigers are ahead because their first rebuild went right. The Royals are on their second rebuild, which I know all of you are sick of hearing. But facts don't care about your feelings. The Royals are on their second rebuild. Their first one failed. Thank you, Dayton Moore. There's many things you can say nice about him, about other things he got your World Series. Dayton Moore screwed over the first rebuild. He screwed it up.
I think there are 2 ways to look at that.
Okay.
One, I think the technical way and the super baseball way, if you're amongst it, you are correct.
Yes.
I think if you are the casual fan, this is all just a big old pile of suck.
Yeah.
And the rebuild is continuing. Like there is no first or second rebuild, because if you look at the nuts and bolts of it, the first rebuild started in 2018, and then this year is going to be different because you got different leadership and different views and all of that. Which the old saying is, if you're going to fire someone, you probably should have fired them the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you would have fired and restarted everything last year, you don't have the questions this year.
Nope.
It's just like last year. Oh, we decided to fire Terry Bradshaw, the hitting coach, on May 3rd. Well, you should have had him be the head coach or the hitting coach to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You fired Cal Eldred at the end of last year. Well, in the grand scheme of it, if you really wanted to get ahead of it, you fire Cal Eldred after the 2021 season. If you were going to make a move, if you were John Sherman, to make sure that you kept JJ Picola, because that's what it kind of sounds like after now looking at hindsight. And, when we aired the press conference, 2 years ago, in which they decided to make Dayton Moore, the president of operations, and JJ Piccolo, the GM. And we're like, oh, that kind of just sounds like, fancy corporate America, talk about titles. Most of the time when you see someone from like the Chiefs or the Royals get a different title, it's just an excuse and a way for them to pay them more to try to keep them happy because they do like them and they don't want them to leave.
But they don't want to change the way they're running business.
And so what John Sherman should have done was, instead of making the title changes, because that's all it was, we now know who was really in charge. You should have just said, no, if we want to keep JJ that bad,
Dayton needs to go.
We're going to move forward with so that's a miss by John Sherman by a year. And unfortunately, when it comes to baseball, if you make a bad decision, multiply that almost by 2 when it comes to the effect. Mm-hmm. If you would have fired Dayton Moore and Cal Eldridge and did the full Royals rehaul, if you will, right now, if you would have done that last year, and you had Cotrera here last year, and you had JJ here, and you had Sweeney, and you do on all that, who knows what could have happened? This year could have been last year, and now this year could be brand new. But because you wasted 22, now you're wasting 23. In the grand scheme of it, this year is a waste, wins and losses, but it is we got to find out what we had. You should have found out what you had last year and all of those things. That's why by not making the correct decisions in a timely manner, instead of being proactive, you were reactionary. Now we've got it's a wasted year this year, just like it was a wasted year the year before. And that's what stinks at this point in time. So, and you get 6-4 games in which you got guys like, Taylor and Whitgren, who are not a part of the future next year, but they got to fill the innings somehow. You could have had Taylor and Whitgren last year and tried to see how this is all going to work out. So, but they're 1-5, and they got Washington and St. Louis and Colorado and Miami. I mean, they got 11 more games against bad teams. Washington, St. Louis, Colorado, Miami. That's 11 games. So they had, 17 games against bad teams, and they're 1-5.
No, it is.
It's
a bummer, and it's frustrating, and hopefully the Washington series goes differently and can get something akin to positive vibes rolling, but I don't know. They had a chance to get closer to a 500 month if they won that game yesterday. They would have had a realistic chance at a 500 month of baseball with a weak schedule in that month. And they couldn't do it. And it stinks. And yeah, it feels awful that like Detroit feels ahead in the rebuild because they kind of are. But it's because Detroit didn't screw some things up that the Royals screwed up. Like the biggest thing Detroit put the right people in charge. That's what Detroit did. You want to know why Detroit is ahead of the Royals in some rebuilding? You want to know why the White Sox are starting to turn things around a little faster when they've kind of gone to a bit of a slump than the Royals did? They just got the right people running things. Now, granted, the White Sox also have the worst ownership in the American League Central. But when the right people are running things, it lets you do other things better. The reason the Royals rebuild is taking so long and has faltered so much, they have the wrong guys in charge. And when you have that, it screws everything up. It is one thing to get the talent wrong. That is one thing. But when you get the people calling the shots wrong, that is what truly cripples you. And that's what's crippled Kansas City. It wasn't always a talent thing. We're saying it was you just didn't have the right people running the operation and running the show. And it gets you to where you are. It truly does. It gets you to exactly where you are right now.
Speaking of where we are at right now, I thought this was fascinating when it comes to the baseball world with the pitch clock. We talked with Johnny Kane yesterday, who, by the way, had an interesting interaction yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, if you are a fan,
yes,
and the opposing broadcast is doing something and you hear the guy talk,
They're obviously doing probably some sort of live hit or even recorded hit.
Yeah.
They're doing their job.
Why are you yelling obscenities at the person, or you think it's funny?
Yeah, like that's what the guy thought who did. They thought it was funny.
You think it's funny? You're just being a total POS. You really, really are. No one thinks you're cool. No one thinks you're a bad man. Wow, that guy's so tough. No, you look like an idiot. You know what you look like? You're just the same guy. So if those of you don't know, Johnny Kane used to work in Kansas City. We had him on yesterday. Great guy.
Fantastic dude.
He is the Joel Goldberg of Fox Sports.
Valley Sports Detroit.
He is the Joel Goldberg of Valley Sports Detroit. He was talking about potentially the K being moved downtown. So he talks about it and he says, yep, this could be one of the baseball cathedrals that goes the way of the past with the new downtown ballpark. And then in the background, he's doing this right in front of the fountain. So you got those outfield seats that are right there. And he's doing a stand-up. And then a Royals fan right behind him starts yelling out expletive, Miggy, expletive.
It was bleep Javi Baez and bleep Detroit. Yeah. And that bleep is a 4-letter word that begins with the first letter of my first name.
Yeah. Starts with an F. And you can hear it
clear as day. Clear as day. And if you were going to listen, if you were one of the Detroit fans in the Basketball Detroit last night, that clear as day.
It's all over social media right now.
Oh, yeah.
And then Johnny, is doing a live hit and turns and
just stares.
Gives this dude the meanest
he
look.
Him.
It would be like when you were a kid and you were acting up in public and your dad turned and looked at you, and if he could throw like knives with his eyeballs at you.
He's doing it. It's that look that's like, oh, I'm in big
and it
trouble.
Worked because the dude turned bright red and on television.
Like, sorry.
And Johnny continued with it. And even the guy behind Johnny across from the aisle had to like cover his face because he was embarrassed being even in the shot. Anyways, if you're doing that,
stop it.
You should be banned. You should be that's like taking a ball away from a kid.
Yeah,
on a home run or a foul ball. But you just suck.
It's very simple, and we say this as people that work in the same kind of industry. It's one thing to be a fan at a park and want to throw jeers at opposing players and whatnot. I always keep it fairly respectable.
No, you need
there's
to make
trash talking and then there's kind of being a jerk.
No, you need to make it funny.
Yeah,
the
that's
funnier the better.
Yeah, actually be funny. Just using expletives isn't funny. That's not comedy. But if broadcaster is trying to do their job, like this goes beyond the scope of so many things. If a media personality is trying to do their job and you're in the vicinity of that job, let them do their job. Yeah. Like this goes even beyond sports. Don't mess with news people, sports people doing stand-ups. Just let them do their job. If we are doing live shows, we love having you people around. We love it. Like, don't say stupid stuff that our mics can pick up.
If he said something,
because we get in trouble.
They're really not
really, but you know what I mean.
It just sounds really bad.
Yeah,
and
don't do that.
If you're gonna do something, be funny.
Yeah, and that wasn't funny. That was just stupid.
That was vulgar and dumb.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Anyway, that tangent aside,
I don't know how we got onto that, but we're gonna move forward to we talked about the pitch clock. That's how we got into this. Talked with the pitch talk with Johnny Kane.
We circled all the way back.
And Kenley Jansen has some concerns about the pitch clock. He says pitchers are getting hurt out there right now. And another media member said Kenley is not alone in this. Rob Bradford. Kenley is not alone in this. The injury concerns are gaining steam throughout baseball clubhouses. Are pitchers not able to gather themselves? And are they working too fast for their bodies? This is one. There were two things for me about this when it comes to the actual game. Was it worth it to shorten it this distance? It turns out, yes, it was. But the actual game, one, can you let the moment breathe? I've talked about that a bunch. And two, will this hurt pitchers? Because a lot of pitchers are not used to throwing pitches 20 seconds apart. They're used to throwing pitches 45 seconds apart. So they're able to shake out their arm a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like any other sport, in football, running a deep route every single time that you're running it in football. You can't do it. Your body won't allow it. Is there some concern about this? He says he likes it. He likes the speed up for the game. He thinks it's good, but he said and I don't consider this an unintended consequence. I brought this up a few different times when this occurred is this going to wear out pitchers? We'll have to see. 1 year is too much of a sample size. The pitch clock is here to stay. Our pitchers going to have to find ways to make it work. When I say find ways to make it work, I mean, is there you have to pre-program when you get your, I want to reset, right? Because they get two of them during an inning.
Time your disengagements. Here's what I'll say, and because I've seen this stuff float around a lot. I love Kenley, and I love what Kenley has done and to work with the pitch clock and his resurgent career. He's been great. Kenley Jansen, one of the greatest closers of our generation. Kenley's wrong. There has been a lot of looking into the injuries around pitch clocks. To anyone to say that the pitch clock is the reason for injuries is an inaccurate representation of the situation. If you look at the data, and I have read like 5 different, this has been talked about all season, and I read every piece on it. The injury rates for pitchers is higher than last year. That is a correct statement. The percentage rise is in line with the rise we've been seeing for like 5 seasons. So, yes, more guys are getting hurt, but we've had that issue for like 4 seasons. Now, I cannot definitively say the pitch clock has no effect. I can't say that because everyone is still trying to figure that out.
But to say that
it is because the pitch clock is factually incorrect. Because it is not supported by any sort of research as of this moment in time.
I don't think you can definitively say that because of we don't know yet because this is the first year. I can see where he's coming from. I
see
totally
his point,
can.
and I see
Totally
any
can.
pitcher's point that maybe working faster is a problem. I just counter it with we've been seeing a rise in pitcher injuries, and in these types of pitcher injuries, to be specific, for like 3 to 4 seasons in a row. Like, do I think the pitch clock could have an effect? Of course it could. You are working pitchers faster than they're not used to. Do I think it should be to take into a level of, the pitch clock is bad, and because of the pitch clock, guys are getting hurt? That I feel is just an accurate representation.
I think, one, you have to wait.
Using the pitch clock as a scapegoat is my problem. I guess I'll finish there.
I think wait till the end of this year, look at it, talk to pitchers, and you'll get I think a little bit more of an idea when it comes to that. But I thought that's good. Coming up next, everyone loves the list. Then we'll talk a little contracts with Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. Everyone loves the list on this Thursday. And today is National Sing Out Day. All right. I love a good karaoke. I like karaoke.
That makes one of us.
Yeah, I think it's fun. So we're going to go with, but there are certain songs you shouldn't sing when you karaoke. So we're going with songs you shouldn't sing at karaoke.
That's the move.
Yeah.
I'm not a karaoke guy, but if I was ever at a karaoke bar, I do have thoughts and things I wouldn't want to hear.
But not just you.
I know other
singing,
people.
But other people.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, that's my take is that no one should want to hear me sing anything, but I have thoughts on what other people as well. Number 4 for me, minor cop out on the range here. Any Tom Jones. I love Tom Jones. I love Tom Jones's music. I don't think anyone should be singing Tom Jones at karaoke. I love It's Not Unusual. I don't want to hear your rendition of It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones. I don't want to hear you jump up there and start singing What's New Pussycat. No. Don't want to hear it. It doesn't fit.
All right. My number 4. Don't sing I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston. Okay.
Yes. Agreed.
Stop. Don't do it. 1, not a bar song.
No.
2, you can't do it.
Agreed. My number 3 is that as well, because there's something in common with my top 3. It's all about notes in the range of the songs. You guys can't hit Whitney's notes, so stop it.
Number 3 for me. You're not a fast rapper. Do not rap anything fast. Like,
okay,
if you try Twista or Busta,
get out of here.
Sit your butt down.
That's
all right,
fair.
They are too. You can't do it. Don't try.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to do like California Love, go for it.
Sure. Okay, I feel you. Number 2 for me, do not do Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. You will ruin that song with your terrible rendition of it.
Okay. I never thought of that one. Okay.
I don't know if anyone would do it, but I'm putting it on there.
All right. Number 2 for me, the national anthem. Don't sing it.
If someone did that, I'm throwing something at them. I didn't know
that happened to me.
Oh,
we were at Applebee's and they did it. And I'm like, what the?
I throw something at you.
What are you doing? This is not the time or the setting.
No. Number 1 for me is very simple. Take On Me by Aha. None of you can hit that high note, and I don't want to hear you try.
Alrighty. I like that song.
I love that song.
I would do that song.
No one can hit it.
Number 1 for me. Any Mariah Carey song.
Fair.
Any Mariah. You are not Mariah. Stop it. No Mariah Carey should be sung. That should be outlawed. Very easy. Coming up next, we'll talk a little contract talk. Not mistaken, before this season, one of our over-unders was, will Patrick Mahomes throw a behind-the-back pass? Was that not?
It was, because it was one of mine.
That's what I thought, right?
It was one of mine.
It was like over-under 0.5.
He keeps doing it every offseason.
And did you see what
I did?
Okay.
He's doing it again. He's going to do it.
I just saw the tweet from the Chiefs. It happened about 40 minutes ago. And the Chiefs tweeted out, and this obviously was probably yesterday. And the Chiefs, they ain't no dummies, okay? If this was tweeted out yesterday, he gets asked about it. He's not, because they're not, Mahomes won't meet with the media for a while now, because next week after OTAs, Reed will meet with the media, and then I think other assistant coaches will. But the Chiefs tweet out, our magician working on some new spells with the Harry Potter thingy. What is that? A wand, if you will. The wand thingy. I'm not a
You forgot the word for wand.
I'm not a Potter guy, man.
No. That's not a Harry Potter thing specifically. That is a magic in general thing.
Yeah, the magic spells.
Magicians at children's parties will have wand props.
Well, when I look at that, the way it looks like a Harry Potter thing. Anyways, our magician is working on some new spells, and he drops back to pass, and then he flips it behind his back, and then he kind of backpedals a little bit. This will happen in a game.
Yeah.
It will 1000% happen in a game. And the reason why is because Andy Reid does have a little bit of arrogance, has a little cockiness to him, if you will. And we know that because of Hungry Pig Right. We know that because of the
Snow Globe.
We know that because of the play in the Super Bowl where Patrick Mahomes takes the snap on the run.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? We know that. So
they like to get cute.
They do. And so I do think eventually Patrick Mahomes will throw a behind the back pass.
Will the internet crash the day he does it?
Yes, it will, and people will be so mad at it.
You remember last season when he threw a touchdown to Jerick McKinnon by just skyhooking it over his shoulder?
That wasn't a sky hook, because that would have to be like you'd have to release it at the top.
Yeah.
It was more of a, like, and I think I said this after that is the perfect time in the entire history of his broadcasting career that Chris Berman could have gone, whoop! You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yes.
When he makes someone miss, go, whoop!
Yeah.
He threw that, and that's what it was. It was more like just a kind of a jerky, whoa! Let's see if that works out. But
He's
definitely doing that. He's definitely doing that. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line. We need to know right here. Karaoke songs you should not sing. Okay? It's National Sing Out Day today. From the text line, Frank Sinatra's I Did It My Way.
Yeah.
I got no take on Frank. I
got a take on the type of people that sing My Way by Frank Sinatra.
Sinatra.
Yeah.
I thought you said Sinatra.
No, I said Sinatra.
Oh.
I might have morphed into with me saying take in it. The K pipe morphed into
Sinatra?
No, Frank Sinatra. And also the Frank into Sinatra. Yes, no. Frank Sinatra. I do know who he is.
Well, obviously you know who he is, but I don't know much of, I'm too young for Frank and the Rat Pack, if you will.
So funny enough, this is slightly gone off the rails here, but I really don't care. I have a friend of mine, best friend on this planet, thoroughly enjoys listening to old Dean Martin. Okay. Will spend his time listening to Dean Martin. It is hilarious. I've never gotten his take on Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra passed away in 98, by the way.
Yeah. Tracks. I was 2 years old.
Yes, it's like we weren't.
Yeah, no.
I'm not a Rat Pack guy.
Oh, definitely not.
Dean Martin, it was well before that, wasn't it? 95. Well, not well before, but yeah. Okay. So hit us up with your songs that you. Yeah, this is another good one. Let us know. Hit us up.
The entire story is the best.
I need you to let us know throughout the day. Here we go. Ready? Whoever comes up with the best Do Not Karaoke song, we will get you Royals tickets.
You have until the end of the show.
You have until 3:00. If your song that you tell us that you should not karaoke ever, you get tickets.
Yeah. I will also say here, yes, first off, yeah, it's a completely subjective process.
Yeah.
What Jake and I think is best.
Yeah.
But you have little under 2 hours.
No, you have an hour 15.
That's a little under 2 hours.
It's not.
It's a little under 2 hours. Okay, it's a lot under 2 hours.
Thank
You have a
you.
little over an hour. That's the correct way to word that. I can't use words. I might do radio, but I can't speak.
Yeah. So text
Give us
us
your
in 272-9429. Outside of Topeka, 785-272-9429. If you have the song that is, no questions asked, the best not karaoke song.
Like what you should not do. If we think you have the best one.
Yes.
You win Royals tickets.
So far, we've got Celine Dion, "My Heart Will Go On," the Titanic song. Deceiving because it's a crowd favorite, but I sang it in full falsetto in college, and it's the only time in my life I've ever.
That's the best part of that one. Also, that texter, we're not hating on the Rat Pack. We just think we have not listened. We don't listen to a lot of the Rat Pack. The Rat Pack is good.
I don't know.
I've listened to a tiny bit of Sinatra and Dean Martin in my life. It's good. I enjoy it. It's not my constant one. We have another one in here from the 316, Tequila.
No, that song, that is
I'm with you.
Great karaoke song. That's a great karaoke. There's one word.
We got from Mark on the YouTube comments. We got "Baby Got Back."
See, that's like my era. So growing up, I'm all right with that. Especially if you can hit the song. I'm okay with that.
Oh man, we're getting some great entries here. Y'all are great.
So far, the number one song, the person who's leading, it is "My Heart Will Go On." You can't sing that.
No, if any of you sing "My Heart Will Go," I wish I had thought about that for the list. It might have been overtaken me by Aha. I love "Take on Me." It's a great song. Yeah. The problem is, if y'all sing at karaoke, you're going to try and hit the high note in there, and none of you can do it. None of you.
Yeah, right now, and the ones that you cannot put out there right now are the ones that we said. Any Mariah Carey, get out of here with that. No Whitney Houston, no Twista.
We have a vote for Milli Vanilli.
"Girl, You Know It's True." Hey, that song was a good one.
Yeah.
We're also going to tell you kind of how we feel here. So right now, Celine Dion. If you've got a worse song to karaoke than Celine Dion,
we got
no national anthem.
No.
So all that. Let's see here. Frank Sinatra, "I Did It My Way." Yeah, see that one's not.
Oh, this is so
not
funny.
terrible.
This might be one of the best bits we've ever done.
"I Heard It Through the Grapevine." I'm okay with that.
All right.
I'm okay with that.
Got to vote for "Amazing Grace." We got 2 votes for "Amazing Grace."
Well, "Amazing Grace" was already said by someone who that was the Celine Dion texter. We know if you're texting in. So
we got to vote for "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" by Shania Twain. I think Shania is always okay to sing karaoke.
If you want to get a crowd of females from the age of 30 to 45 pumped and excited,
go with Shania.
Go with Shania. I'm telling you that.
Dude, you're
right
not
now.
wrong.
My wife is 33 years old, so she's
right in that demo we're discussing.
But
here.
on the younger side of that demo, if Shania Twain comes on, she is sprinting to the dance floor at a wedding or a party or at a bar, sprinting to the dance floor. Absolutely sprinting. From the text line, "You can't karaoke. True. That is true.
Oh, man.
But yes, Milli Vanilli did win like the the karaoke song. The national anthem doesn't count because that was part of our list. So right now, text in if you want Royals tickets.
Yeah.
The worst song to karaoke. The one that is, you hear it and you want to boo them off the stage.
Yeah.
You will win Royals tickets. We understand this is very subjective. We get it.
But I mean, kind of the way we always do this is,
Correct. So right now,
taking random phone numbers off of a timing is only as objective as we can be.
Yes. Right now, though, correct. "My Heart Will Go On." If that
right now,
song,
clubhouse leader.
That is the clubhouse leader. They are getting
that
Royals
song
tickets
is
as
bad
of right
in
now.
general, and I don't want to ever hear you start singing it.
We will make the announcement an hour from right now. So you have 1 hour from right now.
Do some thinking, do some research, listen to songs, and go, man, I don't want to hear this.
Yeah. Worst karaoke songs. Let us know. I don't know this one. "Paradise" by the Dashboard Light.
I don't know that. I might have to listen to it.
We will look this up.
Well, anything we don't know, we got to hear to get her out of.
Yes.
We have a vote for "Barbie Girl" in here. No, that's okay because it's funny.
Barbie Girl. Yeah.
That's okay.
Barbie Girl by Aqua. Oh my.
We got What Does the Fox Say in here? Okay, that's a bad one.
Which one?
What Does the Fox Say? That random internet video.
Oh, that song sucks.
Oh, it's horrible.
Ooh.
So that's a contender.
Yeah.
Because if someone did that trying to be funny, I might throw something at you.
Yeah. No, I'm
Chris on the YouTube comments would like to enter Don't Stop Believin'.
No, see, the reason people like that song is because everybody knows it, and that's a wedding jam.
Yeah.
So I don't think that one is. I don't on that one. So keep them coming. We will get to all of these coming up in the 2:00 hour. Free Royals tickets and a parking
Y'all are
pass.
great, man.
This is terrific.
Y'all are giving me
really,
some great entertainment reading all these rolling in. I'm just losing it.
It's terrific.
What are we going to talk about this hour?
Well, we're going to get a quick timeout because we do need to whoever Dashboard Lights is in Paradise, we're going to have to YouTube that.
Yeah.
And find out. And we'll come back and we're going to get to the all-time bad beat decision when it comes to sports gambling. We'll get to a lot more. We'll talk contracts with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's coming up in the 2:00 hour. A lot to get to here on this edition of Mic'd Up. You did what on this Thursday of Mic'd Up? Keep the songs coming. We got a new clubhouse leader. We have a new clubhouse leader in worst karaoke songs. But before that, You want to talk about this isn't a bad beat because this was a decision, but you did what? There was a bettor on FanDuel who had a 3-leg parlay, who bet $25 on a 3-leg parlay. He bet the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. He got it at plus 430. Okay. He bet $25. He also had the Yukon Huskies to win the NCAA tournament at plus 2,600. Okay.
Good Lord.
Now, to get the Chiefs at plus 430, my guess is you bought this ticket around the Super Bowl.
I imagine.
Well, I don't know the specific date. It's not listed here.
But if you're getting the Chiefs at plus 430.
It was probably maybe around the AFC title game.
Probably getting close.
Around there in the playoffs. So if it's plus 430, okay? But they had UConn at plus 2,600. They cashed out. And the reason why they cashed out was it got the Chiefs right, and they could have cashed out for $122. So $25 to $122. They cashed out. They said, I'm not risking it. I just made $100. We're good. Okay. Well, they had the Yukon Huskies at plus 2,600.
Mm-hmm.
And if they cashed out after the Super Bowl. Now, we don't know when they cashed out. But I don't know if you know, but the Yukon Huskies won the title.
You're looking at a pretty nice payday just on those two alone.
And then they had at plus 1,900 the Denver Nuggets to win the NBA Finals.
Don't know if any of you know this, but they're 4 wins away from doing that.
Overall, the odds were plus 286,000. Plus 286,000, okay? Technically plus 286,100. If all these three end up winning, that $25 bet would have paid out $71,000. You realize that?
Yeah, I just looked it up because I didn't know if you had, so I was literally about to pull up to what that number would have been.
$71,000, and he cashed out at 122.
I'm going to be brutally honest.
He had better be praying that the Heat or the Celtics win the finals.
Because if the Nuggets do, I don't know if I could live with myself knowing that I cashed out on a bet at $100 that I could have won over $70,000.
You already had one of the legs. Like, if you wanted to cash out after the Connecticut win,
you want to do that? Fine.
I bet that one would probably be, the cash out there would probably be about 20,000.
Because what are we looking at? Plus 430 and plus 2,600?
Well, no. They would just give the cash out value at probably plus 20,000.
Well,
it's a little bit less than half. That's what normally FanDuel does. Okay. A little bit less than half. So you'd still have missed out on $30K.
We're gonna say it's gonna be cashed at a 20,000 odds. We're winning $5,000.
Yeah, I think you'd get more than that because they'd want to try to hedge. FanDuel would try to hedge their side.
Yeah,
I think you could cash out at about 20. They would offer because that's well less than half. And they're like, hey, we'd rather just give out 20 than the 70. Oofta. That's
rough.
The thing. If you're going to bet $25 on a long shot, why are you cashing out at 122?
Exactly. No, that's what I believe more than anything. What are you doing? I don't believe in that. It's insane.
All righty, we have a new leader in the clubhouse.
We do, and again, all of you are fantastic. There are just some great.
Keep them coming.
These are great, man. I'm loving all of this.
But we've got a new leader in the clubhouse.
We've also have discovered and have learned from all of you saying this.
Yes.
We understand Paradise by the Dashboard Lights is a Meatloaf song. We get it. I've now listened to it a little bit. It gets votes for potential votes here. It is an 8.5-minute song.
Correct.
So I see your point, multiple textures.
We've
now learned this.
Yeah, we do have no Baby Shark. Yes.
Yeah.
That would make me so upset if I heard Baby Shark. You Light Up My Life by Debbie Boone.
Oh boy.
Yuck. Love that one. But right now, the clubhouse leader It is Angel by Sarah McLachlan. If you go to karaoke and I hear any Sarah McLachlan, I will throw my drink at you.
I don't need to be thinking about injured pups while I'm sitting there.
Yeah, like, oh, please don't.
I don't need to cry.
Angel by Sarah McLachlan right now is the clubhouse leader. That takes over Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On. If you're just joining us, the person who comes up with the worst karaoke song, if you hear it at karaoke and we think it's the worst, you get 4 tickets and a parking pass to any Royals game that you want to go to. So that is what we will have. Keep them coming here. Right now, Angel by Sarah McLachlan. We'll play that in the next hour so that you understand the leader, okay? So keep them coming, 785-272-9429. Hour number 3 coming at you. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. No Royals baseball today. When you go 1-5 against two of the worst teams, and at least the Tigers are not terrible, but they're the Tigers, you deserve to get an off day. So the Royals off today. They are back at the K coming up tomorrow against another terrible team in the Washington Nationals. We got another edition of Start, Bench, and Cut coming up. So let us know your thoughts on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits phone line. Also, give us your thoughts on the text line as we continue for the next about 45 minutes.
Give or take.
Our list today was worst karaoke songs because today is National Sing Out Day. Well, to me, Sing Out Day means you're jamming out. So we're going to go with worst karaoke songs. We've had a whole bunch of them thrown at us.
Had some great ones up here.
The No Baby Shark is up there. But right now, the worst one that did not include us that we did, our list. So there's no Mariah Carey, no Whitney Houston, fast rap songs, or the national anthem. Because we've already deemed those you can't do it. You had no
I said no Tom Jones. Can't do Tom Jones. And I had Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yep.
Can't do it.
Yep. And then Aha's Take on Me. So those are eliminated.
People can't do the notes.
Yep.
And if you can, good for you.
So whoever comes up with the worst karaoke song, you will get 4 Royals tickets and a parking pass. And right now, the leader in the clubhouse is Angel by Sarah McLachlan. That is first of all, it's 5.5 minutes long. It's just her singing, and it's, you want to talk about bringing down, if you are in charge of karaoke, you can't allow that to happen. Like most of these songs that we like, if someone allows Baby Shark on there, I'm firing the karaoke person. I'll go get somebody else. If you allow that. Yeah. Let's see. Completely disagree with this one. Summer Girls by LFO. That song was awesome. And that's not even their best song. Girl on TV. Fantastic song by LFO. You don't even know what LFO is, do you?
Nope.
Girl on TV. Terrific. Fun, not a fun fact. It's a sad fact. LFO was a boy band back in the 90s. All three of their singers of the boy band have all died from cancer.
Oh, man, that stings.
Yeah.
Hey, that is a sad fact.
Yeah. American Pie from the text line. Good old Don McLean.
Okay.
I like that song. It's long. It's like 7 minutes.
Yeah, I think the text line's got the right idea of long songs are bad.
Mm-hmm.
You are all correct on that move.
Yeah. Bang a Gong.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know that song.
I don't know it, but it sounds fun.
I know what you're talking about there. Yeah, for sure. So keep them coming. Keep them coming. We right now though the leader is Angel by Sarah McLachlan, because
I don't need to think about injured puppies.
And just that's just
the vibes are killed.
Yeah.
The vibes are ruined.
Like you gotta leave the bar.
Yes. The singer and me.
Yeah, I gotta go ahead and get rid of that one.
Yeah,
so,
no, that's why that's the leader right now.
Also, Don't Worry, Be Happy.
It's a good song.
I don't mind that one. That was all right.
A little overdone, but overall fine.
Yeah, that one's all right. That one's all right. So keep them coming. We will get you some of the results and who our winner is here in just a little bit. If you've already submitted a song, you can't submit anymore.
Now, get one shot.
You get one shot.
One opportunity.
Yep.
Sees everything you ever wanted.
For one moment.
You capture it, or you let it slip.
Let it slip, yes. Yes.
That song, don't probably do it at karaoke.
I don't know. That would get the crowd going, man. If I had a few beers, I'd probably start singing along with it, man.
Yeah, that's kind of nah.
Yeah. The World as We Know It by REM. Oh, that's a hard one.
That one's problem is, I have a friend of, again, we're fully off the rails here. I have a friend of mine who literally kept listening to that song and can do perfect speed the verses. Like, he literally was
hard.
Yeah, it took him forever. I don't know if he can still do it.
Hard.
But at one point he could, because I listened to him do it. He could listen to End of the World as We Know It and literally perfectly do it.
Yeah, I think it's Tommy Boy when I think of that. You remember that when he was like in the car?
I do.
Yeah, now that you've seen Tommy Boy.
I love Tommy Boy. It's a good movie.
Yeah, great
That's
movie.
a real fun movie.
So keep them coming here on the text line, 785-272-9429. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, when he spoke yesterday about his contract situation, he set it up so that other guys would get paid.
He did.
Right now, if you were to say, who do the Chiefs need to lock up a contract with? There's really only two guys right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And that is Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. Those are the two guys who are potentially up for it. I think eventually you are looking at Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, but that's not this year. They still have another year under contract. L'Jarius Sneed and Chris Jones are in their final year of their contract.
Yeah.
So we knew that they weren't going to get the contract done because you had the draft.
Yeah.
Because you had all of that. Now that that's over with,
Now you can come back to the table.
For me, I do sign Chris Jones to a long-term deal. And some people say, well, you should trade him because you get great draft capital. The reason why I look at this differently than the Tyreek Hill situation is you've got Patrick Mahomes to mask it. Patrick Mahomes last year, the reason why you were able to win a Super Bowl is because Mahomes is that elite. They don't have another Chris Jones. They don't just come around, okay? Chris Jones will be 29 years old this entire season coming up. He's currently 28, but he turns 29 here in a month and a half. So he'll be 29 years old. He'll be 24, or at the 2024 season, he'll be 30, 25, 31, 26, 32. Here is what I would do. There are two ways that you can do this. You can eliminate this current contract and start brand new with a new contract, or you can keep this year as is and do an extension. There are benefits to both sides, but I think maybe the extension is the way to go. And here's why. You're already under the cap right now. Even though Chris Jones has a $27 million cap hit right now. You're already under the cap. $28 million cap hit right now.
Yeah.
But you're already under. You're fine. If they needed to do this in March to let the Chiefs have more cap space to go get somebody else, then I'd understand it. So you can keep him at the $28 million cap hit because there are two ways that you do this. The way that the Chiefs and most places do this, it's very, very simple. They do a low cap hit in the first year and a big cap hit the years after. And a perfect example of this is currently Juwan Taylor. Juwan Taylor right now. What's his cap hit, Fulton, without looking it up? What is Juwan Taylor's cap hit this coming season right now on the books? It is...
Isn't it 8?
5.8. Then next year, it's 24.7. Okay? This is a 3-year deal for Juwan Taylor with a 4th-year option, but it's really not.
Yeah.
Because they'll cut him at the end of the 25 season. You save $20 million to the cap. You can put that $20 million elsewhere. So, that is how you structure them. Well, right now, the Chiefs could they could get Chris Jones brand new contract. Chris Jones, his cap hit could go down to like $10 million, right? You'd save $18 million to the cap. But do you really need $18 million to the cap right now? Now it can carry over, that's understandable, but you don't really need to. So what if you just add a 3-year deal onto it? You could also just do a 4-year deal and wax this year completely. Okay. So we'll start with the brand new deal. So the day Chris Jones signs, his cap hit would be roughly at the max, probably $10 million at age 29. Then in 2024, his cap hit would be around, 24, 25 million, 25. It would be the same thing. And the reason why you look at it is if you go with the next highest defensive lineman, that is Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons of the
Titans.
The Titans. His contract that he just signed, 4 years, $94 million with $59 million guaranteed. Okay? So give Chris Jones 4 years, $100 million, 70 guaranteed. Okay? That's all you got to do. 4 years, $100 million, 70 million guaranteed, because he wants to be paid more, like he wants to be the highest paid defensive tackle, non-Aaron Donald division.
Yeah, he wants to be the second highest paid defensive tackle.
And that's what it would be. It would be same years as Jeffrey Simmons, but more money and more guaranteed money. Perfect. Okay. So if that's the case, your cap hits would be 10, 25, 25, 25, right? And you throw in, depending upon signing bonus, guaranteed money, and how you operate it, maybe it's really a 3-year deal with an option on a 4th year. And the reason I say that is look at Jeffrey Simmons' contract. Jeffrey Simmons' contract is a 3-year deal with an option year after that. His cap hit this year $6 million, next year 21, the next year 22, and then you've got a $25 million cap hit in 26, but just 9 dead cap, so you'd be saving $16 million. So really, it's just a 3-year deal for Chris Jones worth $70 million. That's if you do a brand new contract, right? Get out of it at the age of 32. So you'd get Chris Jones and he's 29, 30, and 31, and then you can move on after that. Or you do the extension. You keep it at $28 million this year. You don't touch it because they're under the cap. And then next year's cap hit is $10 million. 25, it's 25. 26, it's 25. So you do a 3-year extension, or you can do 4-year extension because that last year is just whatever.
Yeah.
I would do that if I were the Kansas City Chiefs. Either one works because if you want cap space this year, doesn't really help. It doesn't. But you can carry it over for next year. I think what works maybe next year is, hey, his low cap hit is next year in 2024, and then his cap hit gets even bigger in 2025. And the reason I say that is when you look at NFL contracts and you've got a big money quarterback, you can only have 4 big money contracts. That's it. You can't do any more. Look at what, and the Chiefs are the best example of it because this year in 2023, they have 3 big time contracts. That's it. That's all they've got. They've got Mahomes at $40 million, Jones at 28, Tooney at 22. To me, anything over 20 million is a big cap hit.
Yeah.
That's all they got. And we talk about this a lot. The Chiefs don't have a single bad contract on the books. Not a single one. They don't have, this guy is making this kind of money and he's not performing. They don't have a bad contract. But then in 2024, this is where you only get 4 big-time contracts. Mahomes is at $47 million cap hit next year in 24. Jawan Taylor's is $24 million. Joe Tooney's is $22 million. They could move on from Joe Tooney, but the problem is that you're eating a pretty healthy dead cap with Joe Tooney in 2024. Could they do it? Yes. I don't see the Chiefs doing it. Could they kick the can down the road again? But they'd be eating $13 million to the cap. That's something that the Chiefs don't want to do. And I still think Tooney could still be a viable guy at that point in time. So you've got Mahomes at 24 next year in 2024, $47 million. Taylor at 24, Tooney at 22. Then the next person's Kelsey at 15. Chris Jones is going to be in there. Do you want Chris Jones to have a small cap hit this year? Not necessarily, because you're under the cap right now.
Yeah, maybe you want Chris to have the big cap hit now, and then maybe give him a lower cap hit somewhere else down the line.
In 2024, so you've got Jones there, and maybe you could add somebody else in 2024 because you only get 4. And the Chiefs are in great cap situations because they're this good and they've got so many young, talented guys. So maybe you look at Chris Jones and you say, hey, we'll do a deal with you, but you'll stay on this year's deal and we'll give you, $4 million or 4 years, $100 million starting in 2024 and go 24, 25, 26, and 27. But you're really not playing in 27. You're only going to play in 24, 5, and 6. And at age 32,
we revisit this whole thing.
Well, you move on at that time probably because he's not going to be.
Well, I mean,
good.
if he's good enough and he wants to stay, you revisit it at a lower number. But no, I think that's fair.
You can do that, or you say,
there's ways to make this math work.
And for some people, oh no, you got to trade Chris Jones. No, trade him. Get what you can. Look what they do with Tyreek. Defense is different, man. You got to have the difference makers.
You do, because, and it's just as we keep saying,
Chiefs.
Offensively, you have Mahomes, who covers up other things. Defensively, Chris Jones is your Mahomes. That's what he is. To how other things work and the way other things can be balanced and masked and the way he can make other guys better, that's his purpose. And that's why he has to be paid.
Now, from the text line, do you restructure so you have money for a trade deadline and to extend Snead? This brings up a great question about L'Jarius Snead.
Yes.
This is simple. If the Chiefs don't extend Chris Jones, I think they're stupid. So, but L'Jarius Snead is a lot more interesting, and here's the reason why. L'Jarius Snead is not a top 5 corner. He is a unique corner because he can blitz. He's a bigger corner, but I wouldn't consider him a blanket corner, okay?
No.
Good corners right now average around $20 million. If you look at it, is L'Jarius Snead a cornerstone player? In 2024, would he be worth $18 million to the cap? You got Mahomes at 47, Juwan Taylor at 24, Tooney at 22, Chris Jones at question mark, L'Jarius Snead. And we bring up this because Patrick Mahomes mentioned L'Jarius Snead. I don't know if Snead is a guaranteed extension. And the reason why is, look at what they've got right now. They've got Snead, McDuffie, Watson, and Williams as your corners. Phenomenal quartet of corners. McDuffie, Watson, and Williams. McDuffie's there for another 4. Watson's there for another 3. Williams is there for another 3 for peanuts. I think this year will determine what they're going to do with L'Jarius Snead. Now, Snead's in a good situation where he doesn't have to sign anything and he can just go to the free agent market.
Yeah,
but they're 2 rookies that they drafted. To me, how much does the Chiefs like, or what do they think of 7th round pick Nick Jones and 4th round pick
Shamari
Connor? If they think those 2 can be NFL players, you don't sign L'Jarius Snead, because then you ride with McDuffie, Watson, Shamari Connor, and Nick Jones. That is 5 dudes for the next 4 years.
Dirt cheap. So why would you extend Snead if you think those guys can do it? And no, that's fair. What I will ask you is this, and this I think is what everyone needs to ask themselves on how good L'Jarius Snead is. Do you think L'Jarius Snead is better than Charvarius Ward?
I think he is a better player than Charvarius Ward.
Do you think L'Jarius Snead is better than Darius Slay? As of right now, this moment in time. Take past accolades out of it as of everyone's current age and incarnation.
I mean, corners are such a volatile position, but he's been consistent. But there have been times where Snead, I would say probably, maybe.
Do you think L'Jarius Snead is better than Carlton Davis?
Maybe.
Do you think L'Jarius Snead is better than J.C. Jackson?
This last year he definitely was.
Well, yeah, but also J.C. was hurt, but that's fair. Do you think L'Jarius Snead is better than Tre'Davious White?
No, I don't.
Cool. We found your range. Your range is $14 to $17 million a year. That is the current AAV. The low end, if you think he is about equal to Darius Slay, we'll go with equal. Darius Slay's AAV right now is $14 million. If you think he's less than Trey White's is 17.25. 14 to 17 is the AAV you're working with. If that is your belief on L'Jarius Snead. Not saying that's what the Chiefs would do. Not saying that's what anyone else would do. I'm saying that's what you, Jake LeBon, at least, and me, I'm actually right there with you. That's my number. Do I think now the question goes to, can they fit that AAV onto this team?
Okay. I got another. I'll answer your question with another question.
Okay.
Do the Chiefs win the Super Bowl without L'Jarius Sneed?
Yes.
Then you don't re-sign him.
No, I'm with you on that idea. I love L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah.
I really do. But I've made my opinions on Trent McDuffie very clear at this point. Like, y'all know where I stand on that. If Shamari Connor and Nick Jones are anything at this level, if they are just, hey, we don't want them to start a bunch, but in a pinch, if I need to bring them off the bench and they can do some good work, you don't need L'Jarius Sneed, because Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson prove to you they can be 1 and 2. Because they literally did it several times last year.
And they did in the Cincinnati Bengals AFC title game when he got hurt.
The AFC championship game for pretty much the entire game was McDuffie, Watson, and Williams.
Yeah.
Against a potent passing attack. And they held their own. So listen, I love L'Jarius. I would love for him to stay with this team, because I feel he is a nice piece. But I do not feel he is important enough where you have to cripple your financial situation. If you can make the money work, do it. Keep him around. I'm all for it. But I do not think the Chiefs should mortgage their financial future with other things they could do for L'Jarius Sneed, because they've been so fortunate at drafting and developing their current corner room. Because the other guys are so young and so talented and so cheap. You're in a blessing of a spot that other spots you're not in.
Like, for me, it all comes down to, can the Chiefs win games without that person?
Yeah, and they can win games without L'Jarius Sneed, because we've watched it happen. We've watched them struggle to win games without Chris Jones.
Travis Kelce, you pay that guy. Right now, offensive linemen, you got to protect Mahomes.
You have to pay at least one of Creed and Trey.
Yeah, one of those.
Preferably both if you can find a way, but you got to pay one of them.
So I think the contract, it's a no-brainer for Chris Jones.
I'm with him.
But Sneed's a little bit more interesting. It is.
His is a very specific and interesting scenario.
Little update on the worst karaoke song from our text line. I have not heard of this song, but I am going to YouTube it. Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim.
Oh, buddy.
Is that bad?
Oh, yeah.
It's bad.
It's you were not a SpongeBob guy growing up. That's out of your range.
No,
that's its most famous incarnation. It's a weird song.
Okay. Tomorrow from Annie. Yeah,
that's not great. That's bad.
Here's one. I love the song. Karaoke wise, it would be bad. I'll Make Love to You by Boys to Men.
Yeah, you can't karaoke that. Song's good. Song is good.
Yeah.
Boys to Men were awesome.
Yeah.
You can't get up on a stage and sing that.
Tiptoe Through the... I'm going to have to check that one out.
I'm excited to see Jake's reaction to Tiptoe. For any of you out there that have heard that,
not a
Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim it's a trip.
So if you're wondering why we are taking worst karaoke songs, whoever we determine is the worst karaoke song from the text line, you get a 4-pack of Royals tickets and a parking pass. Today is National Sing Out Day, and we want to know if you are at a bar and it's karaoke. Right now, the leader is Angel by Sarah McLachlan. That song sucks. A lot of
sad.
And it's 5.5 minutes of just someone singing. It's terrible.
The arms.
It's awful.
It's horrible.
I would boo someone at karaoke if they were doing this. So let us know, 785-272-9429, the worst karaoke songs. The worst. And you get a family 4-pack of Royals tickets. Coming up next, start, bench, cut here on Mic'd Up. Alrighty, we are going with a little start bench cut. I am going to go with. We're going to go with fast food main entrees.
Oh,
okay.
A little spicy in here.
Okay. So, to me, there are really three at the if you're going to go standard fast food.
Okay.
Okay. You have your choice of a burger, cheeseburger.
Okay.
Chicken sandwich.
Okay.
Or nuggets.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm starting the burger. I'm benching the nugs. I'm cutting the chicken sandwich.
Cutting chicken sandwich?
I only get a chicken sandwich from select few places. I'm not a big chicken sandwich guy.
But you are a nuggets guy.
Oh, I love nugs, man. So, okay, let me get into this because I've had to, okay.
Do you understand my confusion?
I understand your point here.
Okay.
Here's my thing. Here's me and chicken sandwiches. It is taking me a long time to get used and okay with the flavor and texture combinations of bread and chicken together. For the longest time, that was my problem. I didn't like chicken in a sandwich form. I have since evolved and grown as a person.
Good.
But I'm still it's very specific places I'll get a chicken sandwich from.
Okay.
I'll get a cheeseburger from anywhere. If you got nugs on the menu, I'll get nugs. I love chicken nuggets, man. I might be 27 years old. I love chicken nuggets. Absolutely.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But no, there's a couple places now that I do. So that's the arrangement of the situation. That's how it goes. This randomly popped in my head as I was just scrolling through some things here. So this is my start bench cut for you today. Some Chiefs quarterbacks of yore. Damon Heward, Brody Croyle, Tyler Palko.
You just had him right there.
In that order?
Yeah, start Damon Heward, bench Brody Croyle, cut Tyler Palko. Tyler Palko is the worst quarterback for the Chiefs I've ever seen.
Is Brody's redeeming quality that he at least had an arm? It might not know where it's going, but at least existed.
Yeah, he had a hot wife too on on Hard Knocks. I remember that. Most people remember Brody Croyle by his very attractive wife. I don't know why you're laughing. I'm speaking facts here. He never won a game as a starter for the Chiefs.
No, he did. That's true.
So no, it's not.
No, it's true.
Did Tyler Palko ever win a game?
I don't know. Because the easy answer for start is Damon Heward because he at least won a few games.
He went 1-3. Palko did, but he was so bad. He had 7 interceptions to 2 touchdowns in his career. He was awful.
Oh man, the legend Tyler Palko.
He started 4 games as a NFL quarterback.
2 touchdowns.
Tyler Palko might be worse than the Peterman.
Oh, and I need to look up the one game he won. Hold on, I need to see this here. Where's the win for Tyler Palko? Oh, there it is. He beat the Chicago Bears.
You should fold your franchise.
Would you like to know the final score of that game? We're in 2011 football. Game was 10-3. Tyler Palko went 17 of 30 for 157 yards and 1 touchdown. He did not throw an interception.
Yeah, Brody Croyle was 0 for 10 in his career.
Yeah, Brody had a bad
But
time.
he had at least 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He was terrible too. But no, Taylor Palko, I can't believe he started the game.
Brody Croyle, what a guy.
Go Wildcat instead of Tyler Palko. Go Wildcat. Yeah, that's real bad.
Yeah, Tyler Palko was awful, man.
So bad.
Just remember, kids nowadays, they don't know what it was like.
No, they don't.
They don't know the pain we went through.
Tyler Thigpen, Tyler Palko.
There's no disrespect to Tyler Thigpen around here.
He stunk too. No, do you remember the one chin strap Kyle Orton era?
Oh yeah, of course I do. I remember Kyle Orton beating the undefeated Green Bay Packers.
Yes, yeah. Brendan Still's upset about that one.
I remember that game and being legitimately going like, the Chiefs have a quarterback here.
No.
Like, we got a guy. Well, that's where we were.
That was so bad.
We were in a very bad place.
Yeah, Brody Croyle played 5 years in the league.
Tyler Thigpen went 1-11 in his career.
I mean, just look at those quarterbacks we talked about. 0 for 10 for Croyle.
Yep.
1 for 4 for Palko. Would you say Thigpen went 1 for?
He was 1 for 10 with Kansas City
Starting.
Yep.
QB record 1 for 10
with Kansas City, and then he lost 1 start for the Dolphins in his career.
That's so bad.
Yeah, he went 1 for 10 in 2008. 2,600 yards, 18 touchdowns, 12 picks. So positive touchdown interception ratio. Completed 54% of his passes.
Those are I will never.
I hope everyone's enjoyed this trip down incredibly bad memory lane.
So bad.
As our man Chris on the YouTube comment says, and I completely agree with, anybody who takes the Chiefs for granted would do well to remember the years between 2007 and 2012.
Yeah.
Those years stunk. And those were the years that I was getting into football. Somehow the Chiefs are my favorite football team, and that's when I started. I got in on that ground floor and a little bit before it too, but like I really ramped up in that era. I watched a little bit before that. That kept me hooked a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I'll get really into this. And then I watched that. And I was like, what is this? But it also helped that my favorite baseball team at that time was the Royals, who were also bad. So I just knew what bad sports were. I didn't know it was okay to have a good sports team. And now I do. I got one.
Very, very good sports team.
They're awesome.
Yep.
They're pretty cool.
Coming up next, we'll get into some Royals baseball, and we will get to... You got another about 8 minutes for your chance to win Royals tickets. If you can text in the worst karaoke song that you know. 785-272-9429. This song at karaoke, you have to boo them. This song, oh my goodness.
The images of sad dogs giving you literal puppy eyes.
It's such a slow song, and it's 5.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Couple more recent entries, Karma Chameleon by Boy George. Also a song by NWA. Here's the thing about, like, I don't like fast rap karaoke. Like, some rap is okay, like California Love, you know, like everybody's probably heard that song. That's okay. That one, not a good one. That one's up there. You can't, it's a song by the NWA.
One of their more iconic pieces.
One that says it has an expletive in the word. I've seen this on our YouTube comments as well as on the text line. Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim. I had never heard of that song.
Jake hadn't.
I listened to it.
It's hilarious.
It's awful.
Oh, it's bad.
Really bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's only a minute long.
It's redeeming quality.
That's a very redeeming quality for a karaoke song. The tiptoe through the guy's voice is really high. Yeah. It's a terrible song. But it's only a minute. Like, I can't put it above the Sarah McLachlan song.
That's fair.
I'm sorry
to our Tiny Tim submissions onto the show here.
It's bad.
I can't put a vote for that one because it elicits too many happy memories for me. Because it was a song featured prominently in SpongeBob, and I loved SpongeBob growing up. That was my like staple cartoon, because we all have that staple cartoon growing up, like that number one you always think you spent so much time watching.
Doug.
See, Jake's is Doug. Mine was SpongeBob, because it like came out like the year I was born. Yeah. Or like maybe a little bit after. I don't think it was 96, but it was around there.
Doug was awesome.
And I watched a lot of Nickelodeon.
On a trash can. Strumming on a street light. Calling me. Oh, yeah.
I'm impressed you still remember that.
I love Doug, man. Pork chop, patty mayonnaise, Roger Klotz, BB Bluff.
I'm supposed to remember so much of this.
Loved Doug, man.
Okay.
Loved it. So you got about 3 minutes, because when we do mic'd up, or we do the mic drop, we will announce the winner. So if you have a really bad karaoke song that's terrible and awful, we had some great ones.
Yeah, even the ones that were not like our winners, like any of you that don't finish as the winner, do not feel bad. You all had great submissions. All these were bangers.
From the 615, don't know where that
is.
Is that Ohio? Karaoke is proof that Satan is real.
615, I'm with you. I hate karaoke. I hate it so much. Like, in the context of I would ever want to go.
Northern Tennessee.
Okay.
Shout out to someone listening in Nashville.
Well, at least someone who's from that area.
Or yeah,
they can still have that number and be around here.
Correct. That's
how that works.
That is correct. Yes. Don't need to change it. That's why I get whenever I have to call Brett Ballard. He's got a Winston-Salem area code because he coached at Wake Forest. I'm like,
Brett, change your number.
I gotta do so many of that. Yeah.
Brett, change your number, brother.
Yes. So the
man. Man, y'all are great.
Alice's Restaurant by Arlo Guthrie, the most recent submission.
I don't know.
You got that one?
I have never heard of that one. Got Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton.
Yep, that one's sad.
That is real sad.
That's
man.
sad.
That gets to put up a fighter's chance here. Oh, that song is brutal.
I just gotta listen to that in my head.
Oh boy. Okay.
Tears
We're
in
gonna
Heaven.
test some discussions here in the group.
Don't you know my name? Lord. Yeah, that one's bad. The Darkness. I believe in a thing called love. All right. The texter. That song slaps, and if you can sing it, I wouldn't mind that one. That would make me chuckle.
Okay.
Like, I don't think there's a bad karaoke song that's a country song that you can sing.
Okay.
Like I asked Dan during the commercial break, what's your worst karaoke song? And he goes, Copperhead Road. Like, I don't think there's a bad, like, oh my gosh, don't play that country song.
Yeah. I like Copperhead Road.
From the text line, Alice's Restaurant is mostly talking, and it's 17 minutes
long.
Good
Lord.
Oh, no.
We get consideration. 17 minutes gets consideration.
Oh, man. I don't know the song, though.
I'll do some digging. I'll see. Because if the song itself isn't bad, and the only bad thing is its time, we have to take that into account.
Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You. Yeah, that song. That would be bad, too.
Oh, Sinead O'Connor.
Who else we got here? So, we might have to check out the 17-minute one.
I'm going to have to. I can't obviously listen to all of it, but I'll have to look for some cuts.
We'll have to,
I'll listen to some cuts of Alice's Restaurant.
I don't even know who sings that. Alex's Restaurant?
Arlo Guthrie.
Oh, yeah.
Arlo Guthrie is where we're at here. We'll do some looking and we'll see. If I like it enough, but it's only promised it's time, it might take it out of some contention here. But man, Tears in Heaven is a late contender to get a W.
That's sad.
That's no offense to the Jerry McLaughlin texter, but that's brutal.
Any slow song that's sad and it just brings you down, can't do it. So 17 minutes.
I'll take a look at it. I'll see if I can take some cuts.
We'll take a look at it.
I have marked which texter brought it in.
Yep.
We've had a few of you clarify about it,
Yep.
but I found the one who put it as the submission.
Yep. We did have one, Amazing Grace. That's an awkward song, but again, it's a quick one. And I'm just assuming you're going to do like just the first verse.
Yeah.
Or even the second verse. It's not very long.
Yeah.
That's why I think the Tiptoe song, it's eliminated.
Yeah.
It's only a minute.
That's fair.
You know, I can handle bad music for a minute.
Yeah.
5.5 minutes? No.
Yeah.
How long is Tears in Heaven?
That's a good question. How long is Tears in Heaven?
It is 4:36. So it's a long one that you're going to have to go through.
Okay.
That's a long one.
That is.
All right. We'll come back. We'll figure out who's going to be our winner. It looks like we got it down to 3. 2 for sure. We'll get to that with the mic drop coming up next. Of mic'd up, we do have some other applicants. Pearl Jam Jeremy, absolutely not. Pearl Jam is fantastic. Love Pearl Jam. Now, singing Pearl Jam, you don't have Eddie Vedder's voice, and that's where I think the texter's coming from.
And that's fair.
You don't have Eddie Vedder's voice. That's
always a fair point to come from.
Not quite the same as Mariah Carey, though.
No.
Stairway to Heaven. You're a loser if you sing that song.
Mean.
Also, we did listen to Alice's Restaurant by Arlo Guthrie, and we've come to determine, like, you can't karaoke that because no one's going to have that in their catalog.
Yeah, our ruling on that is because that will never ever be in a catalog. Yeah. It is truly a bad one.
That song sucks.
Oh, it's
terrible.
It's just talking for 18 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not a song. That's what it is. It's not a song.
All right.
But that's our rule.
All right, Fulton.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna go with the winner is Angel by Sarah McLachlan.
I think we have to.
That song and karaoke.
It's nearly a wire-to-wire winner, but it's just perfect.
It's terrible. Tears in Heaven is the runner-up. That song is, I like, it's a sad song, classic song. Yeah. But oofta, that's bad. That'll do it for this edition of Mic'd Up. And if you get mic'd up for karaoke, don't sing any of the songs that we mentioned. Be better than that. Fulton's got you tomorrow. I am taking off. We will talk to you on Tuesday.
Yep, we're off Monday for Memorial Day.
Off Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully everyone has a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. Don't do anything silly. Don't sing any of these songs. Fulton's got you tomorrow. We got 580 Sports Talk coming up next.